Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqadada min lisani yafqahu qawli wa ba'du. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we are continuing lesson 3, the rules of non-vowled noon and tanween. Ahkam an-noon as-saakinah wa tanween. We covered idhar halqi in the last lesson, rule 1. Inshallah, in this lesson, we'll be discussing rule 2, Idghaam. Bismillah. Inshallah, let's linguistically define Idghaam. Idghaam is to merge, mix or immerse one thing into another. Science of Tajweed, what this means, how to apply it in the Science of Tajweed. It means the merging of a non-vowled letter with a vowled letter, so they become one emphasized letter, using the articulation point of the second letter, in this case, a noon saakinah or tanween, and it's done with a shadda. The letters of Idghaam are ya, ra, mim, lam, waw, noon, and it could be memorized as yarmaloon. Now, there's linguistic definitions. Idghaam, it's good to know the definition of Idghaam, as some of these terms, some of these rules are related to other letters also. So in this particular case, we are talking about the noon as-saakinah and tanween, the Idghaam that occurs when there's a noon as-saakinah and tanween. Idghaam can also happen with the letter mim, as we will inshallah see when we study those rules. Also for the letter lam, there's a case where we merge the lam. And then there's also different other types of idgham. So it's a good idea to have a glossary of terms and their definitions, so that inshallah you could refer to them, have a good understanding of what they mean, inshallah. And this is the purpose of me defining each term for you. Last lesson, we defined idhar, which means to make clear. Inshallah, as you go along, you will see there are other rules that we will be using the same terms. So inshallah, this is as a bit of advice. I would recommend that you would make a little glossary, a note of all these terms and with their meanings, inshallah. So carrying on, what does all this mean in terms of applying this idgham for noon as-saakinah and tanween? If a noon saakin or tanween is followed by any of the above 6 letters, yarmaloon, you will merge the letter before the noon saakin, tanween, into the letter after it. And this is opposite to idhar. Okay, idhar, we pronounce the letter clearly from its makhrij. Here we are mixing the letter before the noon as-saakin or tanween into the letter after. So that letter is doesn't exist. So we are not pronouncing the noon as-saakinah or tanween at all. We will be merging. Method of pronunciation. Both noon saakinah and tanween are not pronounced. Rather, the letter following noon saakin, tanween, is pronounced with a shadda. And this shadda is not always visible in the Medina Mus'haf. However, in the Indo-Pak script, you will have the shadda on all of the letters of Idghaam. Inshallah, we will carry on. Bismillah. Some letters will carry a ghunna, while others do not. So out of the ya, ra, lam, mim, waw, noon, yarmaloon, the letters of Idghaam, some will carry a ghunna and some will not. Therefore, this rule is divided into 2 categories. Idghaam bi ghunna is idgham with ghunna, and here the merging of the noon into the letters of ya, noon, mim, waw, and these are the letters that come under this category. These letters are merged with a nasal sound and a prolonging of an average of 2 counts. And I have explained the counts before. It depends on your speed of recitation. Okay, inshallah. More of this ghunna and the counting, inshallah, in the future videos, inshallah. So let's look at some examples of idgham with gunna. Here we have the fatha tanween on the lam and following letter is waw. So now we know we have to merge it with a gunna. So we read it as ma law wa'addadah. And you have to imagine a shadda. If your script doesn't have a shadda, you imagine there's a shadda there. Ma law wa'addadah. And there's a reason why the shadda doesn't appear on some of the letters. Some letters it will appear and some it won't. Inshallah, I'll come to that. The next word, noon as-sakin followed by ya. Lan yaqdira. Lan yaqdira. The next example, noon as-sakinah followed by the noon. And now you see the shadda. فَلَن نَزِيدَكُمْ فَلَن نَزِيدَكُمْ. So we are completely merging in. The last example, we have again the dhamma tanween followed by the meme, and we have the noon as-sakinah followed by the meme. Again we have a shadda on both of the letters after the tanween and the noon as-sakin. So we read it as hablum min masad. So you would be merging it if you see the shadda. But now alhamdulillah you know the rule that after noon as-sakinah there is a noon, we are merging. After dhamma tanween there is a meme, so we are merging. And here ya and waw are without a shadda, but the rule still applies, you still merge. Inshallah, I'll tell you why they don't have a shadda in a bit, inshallah, after looking at this. The next category out of the two, so the second one out of the two, is idgham bighayri gunna. So this is idgham without gunna. So without the nasal, without the stretching. And this is the merging of the letter noon into the following letters, lam, ra. So out of yarmalun, lam and ra are the ones we say without a nasal sound and prolonging. So these are the examples. Bismillah. You see the kasra tanween followed by the ra. The ra has a shadda, so we merge them together. عيشة راضية عيشة راضية. The next example, allam, allam. You see there's no trace of noon at all. The next example, dhamma tanween followed by lam, and also a kasra tanween followed by alam. Now we will merge without a gunna. وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ هُمَزَةٍ لُمَزَةٍ وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ هُمَزَةٍ لُمَزَةٍ. Okay, so this is done without a gunna. Now, the shadda sign is not visible because the scholars have said that this is an idgham which is incomplete, and it's known as idgham naqis. Now this is a bit of extra information, inshallah, a bit advanced knowledge. So inshallah, hopefully, inshallah, it will be clear. The noon here, the ones that all the other examples here you see are a complete merge of noon, which means the noon completely merges into the next letter. There is no sign of noon in the next letter. Here, allam, you don't hear the noon. Waylulli, there's no sign of noon. Okay, here you might argue there is a noon, but what the noon you hear, the gunna you hear, is from the next letter. فَلَن نَزِيدَكُمْ. We are reading this noon, not this noon. So again, complete merge. Here, habalum, this nasal, which is the characteristic of the noon, this is coming from the meme because the nasal also is the characteristic of meme. So it's these two letters that carry the characteristic of gunna. Therefore, this habalum this ghunna is coming from the meme. So again, there's a complete merge of the noon. There is no sign of noon. But here, ma law, the ghunna of the noon still remains. So this is an incomplete merge. Ma law. If I took the nasal out, if I take the ghunna characteristic out from the noon, then this complete merge will be ma law. This is without the nasal. But the part of the noon that stays is the ghunna. So I say it as ma law addadah. And if I say it without the ghunna, I am taking a part of the idgham away from it. So it must be said with the ghunna. And I know some sisters have an issue saying it, but you have to make sure that the nasal comes out when you say the idgham, inshallah. The same with the noon as-sakin followed by the ya. There is an incomplete merge. So idgham naqis, because we can still hear lan yaqdira, we still hear the ghunna from the noon. So alhamdulillah, inshallah, I hope this is clear. Note, idgham always occurs between two words. Okay, so the general rule, it only occurs between two words. The exception, and there's always exception to rules, there are only 4 words in the Qur'an where noon sakin is followed by an idgham letter in the same word. In this case, the rule does not apply. It will be read with idhar, known as idhar mutlaq. So these are the only words in the Qur'an that are in the state of idgham, like the letter after here in waw here, qin, there's a noon sakin followed by waw, but we don't read it with idgham. We will read it clearly. So these words only occur as an exception of the rule of idgham. So we say qinwan, sinwan, bunyana, ad-dunya. We end by listening to the recitation of Surah Al-Zalzalah, and I will inshallah highlight the idgham with ghunna and without ghunna so that you can see how they are read inshallah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها وقال الإنسان ما لها يومئذ تحدث أخبارها بأن ربك أوحى لها يومئذ يصدر الناس أشتاتا ليروا أعمالهم فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره.
Alhamdulillah. Inshallah, we will meet next lesson, continuing on with Ahkam an-Nun as-Sakinah wa Tanween, with the rule 3, Iqlab. Inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.